how we doing? Guys, do the whole thing like this. This is like found footage. Do the whole thing like this. Had to fix up my camera a little bit, so maybe I'll start every live stream just like that. That'd be pretty wild. What's good? I feel like we just left this party with as much content as I put out yesterday, or today, I mean, and yesterday, right? Been a lot of stuff, a lot of things happening. I told you all this is going to be the time of the year we started getting some stuff. Cloverfield, right, exactly. Yeah, man, it's been a crazy day. Crazy days. First off, how are all of my COFFMANITEs doing tonight? Everybody doing good this evening? I hope you are. What's up, Zach? Josh, welcome back, Josh. Last Soldier, my friend, how are you? Murray, what is up, Murray? Yeah, I will keep it coming. I told y'all we're full time on the train now. Full time on this crazy train of content creation. A lot of people have been messaging me, appreciating all the content and everything. A lot of you all messaged me appreciating that I reacted to somebody's theory video last night. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And it didn't like influence me. There were some cool things about that theory video. I thought about it more today. There were some cool things about that theory video that I really liked, man. There really were. I say I've got my theory and everything, but at the end of the day, I just want Square to take me on a ride. And if... Let me fix this camera. This is a little low. Oh, I know what's going on. My desk was too high. There we go. That's better. I think that if they incorporated some of the John Q Gamer's ideas and stuff, wouldn't bother me a bit. He had some good ideas. I thought he had some the stuff with putting Genova back together, I thought was really cool. Genova being in separate parts, but to me, it's pretty obvious that you kill those versions of Genova when you're battling it. You kill them. So, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into that right now, but it was a great watch. Send me some more. Send me some more that you all want me to watch. Try to keep them under 30 minutes, though. I'm a busy guy. Try to keep them under 30 minutes. I don't have time to watch the things. I've got a queue on Netflix that would make you blush. Like, and on Crunchyroll, and my backlog of video games. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of time to watch 45-minute YouTube operas, but you know, if there's some bite-sized ones, send them my way. I'll check them out. I'm great, Shadow Star. How are you doing? The grind for Rebirth was real. But this is going to be the grind from here on out. My hope is that, you know, my hope, Josh, is that, Josh or Joshua, whichever you prefer, my hope is that this channel just doesn't faceplant after Rebirth, or after Part 3 comes out, and that it just continues to go. Like we build a good enough following here that people will just keep coming here for like gaming news and stuff like that, and just theories on other things I've got going on. So and I hope people will check out ARAURA at some point too. We got some cool stuff happening over there, so hopefully in November I got a lot of stuff I can drop. So the Axiom 3120, loved the Goaty video you did. I personally also see Blueprints, which is an amazing game. I don't know anything about Blueprints. I've heard people mention it, but I don't know anything about it. I really have it as my favorite game, but Claire is definitely the best game of the year. What a game. Indeed. Claire Obscure was a pivot point for the industry. I don't think you can destroy Genova just a mater before she reincarnates. Just a matter of time. Oh, I thought you turn her into a tomato. You make her a mater. She becomes a mater. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I see what you're saying, but the different versions of Genova, pieces of Genova you're destroying, basically. And you know what's wild is the OG Final Fantasy VII made it as such, right? Like, she wasn't necessarily taking over clones, but remember when you fight her on the ship in the original game, and when you kill her, you destroy her that time? Like, there's this twitching, like, little, like, almost like huge insect leg of hers, and it fades away. Like, it's a piece of her. It's a piece of Genova. So that was an interesting way of saying it, because yeah, essentially it is pieces of Genova, no matter how you want to stretch it. My theory, the reason I kept saying we're saying the same things, is because my theory that I was working on, but I'm not going to do now, because I was like, I have one big theory video left, but it's basically saying the same thing, so I'm not going to do it now. But like, it was basically that the live stream creates these pocket dimensions for people who are passing on and purifying the live stream to keep them there. But some of those pocket dimensions are actually where the different incarnations of Genova are housed, like the different pieces of her, like keeping her separated, basically the same way that Knights of the Round, that materia is separated. I was going to liken it back to my Knights of the Round theory and tie those two things together, but I'm not going to do it now, because that's why I kept saying while I was watching that video last night, I was like, oh, we're all just saying the same things different ways, you know? So whether you're talking about different worlds, or you're talking about different pocket dimensions, or you're talking about alternate realities, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, we're all saying the same stuff. Well, most of us are saying the same stuff. It's pretty obvious that there are different realities and parallel realities, but what caused them? And Gaia Prime, which when I was doing the gamut of theory videos between Remake and Rebirth, I always called Cloudnim's world Gaia Prime. So it all kind of, in my theory, it all harkens back to just offshoots of Gaia Prime. Like, Gaia Prime is the trunk of the tree, and everything else are just branches coming off of that. So, and the branches are slowly getting pruned. But anyway, I don't think I'll make that video now, because I think it, like, again, so that's why I don't watch theory videos, because like, had I not watched that video, I still would have released my theory video. It's similar enough to where now that I've seen it, I don't want to put it out, because it's just like, it would look like I'm copying that. You know what I mean? So I'm just not going to finish it now, I don't think. Yeah, Split Fiction, I played a little bit of it, really good. Didn't get super crazy into it, but I'm not a big co-op guy, but it was doing some kind of interesting things with the co-op. Hear Genova's voice in part 3. I don't think she has a voice. It is just it's Species, right? It's the old hokey sci-fi movie Species. That's what Genova is. If you've ever seen Species, that's what Genova is. In a sense. It's Alien meets Species. I think it has a voice. It's a mimic. It has everybody else's voices. It can do stuff, but I think it's more like a space monster. I think she's more like a space monster. Like the thing that I'm working on with the Cetra versus Genova thing that I'm working on, that I'll be revealing a little bit of next week on Tuesday night, or COFFMANITE Tuesday night next week. I'll be revealing a little bit of that, so make sure you stay tuned in for that. That, what she is in the stratum, what she looks like, I have always had the theory that it is a Cetra that she copied. Like, even back in the day, I was like, I don't think, like, seeing what Jenova is when you fight her, even in the old game, like her true form or whatever at the end of the game, it's like, there's no way she's this beautiful, angelic looking thing with silver hair. Like, I think that was a mimic of the person that she was copying. You know, that's not her form. So, yeah, so I incorporate that into my story that I am finishing. So, oh yeah, Faith Giant for sure. Like this cozy weather season, I throw on a little typo negative and throw on my favorite game and just kick back and chill. For sure, it's not just you. Yeah, Josh, I've seen that theory thrown around a lot that the proto materia is going to have something to do with Jenova. I hope they do it like that Knights of the Round has something to do with Jenova. Like the Knights of the Round are actually, like, if you all have seen my Knights of the Round theory, like if you don't have Knights of the Round, the final Jenova battle at the end of the game, part 3 is going to be really hard. Like, if you put it together, and like, I don't know that they're even going to do the Knights of the Round quest, but if they do, and you can put it all together, then you basically release it and you one-shot Jenova for your hard work and for taking on that quest. Do we hear her voice in Remake? Are you sure about that? Is that her voice, though? Or is she just mimicking someone else? If that's even her, or if that's not something else he's recalling that we haven't seen yet. It's hard to say for certain. Some things you can say for certain because of the way they lay it out. But a lot of things you can't really say for certain. That could be anything. Anything coming from Jenova is a misdirection. Yeah, but that's more like a guttural shriek. A monster could make that sound. Monsters do make those sounds in Final Fantasy games. Robbie's Psychic Catman. Catman do. Was Final Fantasy VII Part 2 Remake worth it? And how the gonna do 3? It's got so much to include. I hope there's a DLC after like a movie. Don't want the Vincent game after. So, yeah. I think Rebirth was excellent. I think it was really, really excellent. The DLC, we're going to get into that here in a little bit because, you know, everybody's wanting to talk about it now. And I'm like, again, yeah, everybody's been saying this is probably a possibility, you know. And I like the Advent Children deniers. The same people that were denying that, oh, it can't end with Advent Children, like this one goon who personally threatened me in one of my comments to a video last week. He was like, what? He said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, you know, what was it? It's hilarious. It's like, you know, the problem with showing your face on videos, you leave yourself vulnerable to people like me who might see you in public. And then he went on to, like, hardcore me, hard bro me about, you know, there's no way it can end the way it did before because Cloud and Tifa being a celibate relationship and all this kind of stuff. Hey, they ain't celibate. They knocked them boots underneath the high wind above the northern crater before they went down to do the business. They did the business before they went down to take care of business. Canon. But yeah, so yeah, if you're going, and then these same people that say Advent Children can't be are the same people coming out and I was like, oh, we might get Advent Children DLC. Which one do you want? Of course they're going to do the Advent Children DLC because they have come out and said. I'm not making these points. It's things they've said. It's things they've come out and said in the marketing. DLC Advent Children is not confirmed, no, but everybody is theorizing that they're going to do it. Like, And I'd be fine with them doing it because you can flesh it out. Advent Children's not great. It's not very good. The desaturated tone of the movie, I mean, I get it, you know, from the cinematography standpoint, you want it to be depressing and foreboding and all that kind of stuff, but Advent Children is not good. The writing in Advent Children is terrible. It's terrible. Terrible. Some of the worst writing I've ever seen in anything. I've covered that with you all before. But if you do Advent Children DLC, it is a chance to right the wrongs of Advent Children, to do it well, to include all of your characters that people want to see. You won't be constrained by, I mean, you'll be constrained by budget and stuff like that, but you won't be constrained by, like, it's got to be a 90-minute runtime. You know, we got to get it in, you know, 85 to 90 minutes. Got to get it in. Everything, you know. So, the fight scene was incredible. The action sequences were great. It's the movie that's the problem. The set pieces are fine. It's the movie that happens between the action that's not good. Mystic Quest, I've got it on my shelf. I've got it on my shelf, Josh. Absolutely. Funny enough, I played the first Final Fantasy when it came out, and it was okay. You know, it was back in the day, you didn't keep your boxes and stuff, and you would swap games with friends, and like, I had the cartridges laying around my house of Final Fantasy playing it. It was that, and not Dragon Quest, it was Dragon Warrior. That, Dragon Warrior, and Gremlins 2. Those were my go-to games I would play over and over, back and forth. And Deadly Towers. Deadly Towers, one of the worst, best games of all time. Mystic Quest is great. Mystic Quest has a banger soundtrack. Absolutely. Do you like Resident Evil as well? I hope Kingdom Hearts comes by next year. I need to get a PS5. Yeah, like Robbie, I love Resident Evil. My 3 favorite franchises of all time are Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, and Castlevania. Castlevania used to be at the top. It was Castlevania, Final Fantasy, and Resident Evil. Resident Evil pushed Final Fantasy to number 3 for a while, but after Konami stopped doing anything with Castlevania, it went down to 3. Resident Evil and Final Fantasy go back and forth for me as far as my favorite franchises go. Aside from Final Fantasy VII stuff, Resident Evil's been planting the flag over Final Fantasy for me, because I think they're just putting out better games. Like, I don't play 14. I'm not an MMO guy. I didn't like 13 too well. 15 was okay. 16 was okay. But Resident Evil Village was awesome. 2 and 4 remakes were incredible. 3 was meh. 7, I did not like Resident Evil 7. I did not like it at all. It felt like just a horror game. It didn't feel like Resident Evil. But Village fixed that. Village felt like Resident Evil, you know. But no, yeah, I love Resident Evil. I cover some Resident Evil stuff on here. We're going to start covering more Resident Evil stuff on here as we get closer to Requiem, if they ever decide to give us anything for Requiem. But that remains to be seen. We'll see. We will see. Oh. Sorry, I was checking something real quick. My browser is not loading. I don't know what is happening. What is going on, man? Alright. Well, before we get into anything else, one of the things I want to do on these COFFMANITE Tuesday nights especially, and in live streams in general, content, stuff like content, I kind of do it at the end of the video reel, but during the streams, I want to start giving people shout outs. shout outs to everybody, of course, for being here. My members. Thank you all so much. We got some new members over the past little bit. Let's see. We've got... Boom. I want to give a shout out to Beck, to Evo. Beck has been a channel member for 18 months, a year and a half. Even when I was being a scrub and not putting up content, Beck didn't waver. Neither did Evo. Evo, been a member for 4 years. My brother from another mother. Thank you so much. Cruel Code, 17 months. Brian Rosales, one of my newest members. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Rick G, 20 months. A true G. Rick G, 20 months, holding it down. Thank you to the members. Appreciate you all being here. Keeping the faith while I worked on other things and got away for a little bit, but I'm back. Your boy's back full time now. Appreciate the hell out of all of you all. Nelson McCullough, what's up? How you doing? But yeah, appreciate all of you all. They're here every night, tuning in, locking in all the time with me. It means the world coming on, hanging out with you all for a few hours the nights that I can, and putting up content for you all. And then when we're not streaming, I see you in the comment sections, holding it down. Appreciate you all very much so. But yeah, so let's talk about we are all sick of remakes of Last of Us. God. Yeah, I mean, a game that started on the PS3. I mean, really? I don't know. I feel like... And again, I got nothing to base this on. A lot of the stuff I talk about on here, I just kind of get gut feelings about things sometimes. Just by things I read. And Steelers, $10. Lighten me up. Cue the Berserk. Cue the Berserk. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Steelers, Mr. Sir. Mr. Steelers. I was getting all confused there. But thank you. I appreciate that. It all goes back into the channel. So much appreciated. Yeah. The thing with The Last of Us and Naughty Dog in general, ever since, I guess, Uncharted kind of ended, right? Ever since the Uncharted series ended, and again, I don't know the politics of that company. I don't know who came and who left, and because sometimes people will tell you things because they have a bias or a negativity against someone at the company. But ever since Uncharted ended, I have noticed that company kind of insists upon itself, right? Like they will be the person that goes and likes their video first. that kind of person, right? Naughty Dog, I don't know, they just kind of seem to me like they make something and then they're like, isn't this just so great? Isn't this thing we made just so great? Well, why don't you wait for the rest of us to come? We'll tell you, you make great games. But wait for us to tell you that before you start stroking your own ego. I was going to say something else there, didn't you? Aha. Get your minds out of the gutter. Get your minds out of the gutter. Anyway, yeah, that's how Naughty Dog just kind of rubs off. And then you go and Last of Us 1 remake. What? Totally unnecessary. The remaster was fine. Everybody's like, oh, they updated the battle system. Well, yeah, I mean, every game from the PS3 era could update their battle system and it'd be great. Was it necessary? Not at all. They should have been working on like a third game for The Last of Us, or, if they believe in it. I don't think they believe in it. I don't think they believe in The Last of Us past some of the decisions they've made, unless they go back and do like a remake or whatever. This new game they've got coming out, I mean, I forget the name of it, but it's kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe or whatever, using like 80s retro music and everything. It's very Guardians of the Galaxy now that I think about it. I mean, that's a big I don't know, like a company like that. And here anymore, like everybody's like, oh, but their games look amazing. Well, every game should look amazing now. Like every game should look amazing if it's coming from a big company with a big budget. If it doesn't look amazing, it's already 2 feet out the door, you know. But yeah, they need to tone back a little bit and just make good games, and let us come and tell them their games are great. They don't need to be the first one out the door to tell us how great their games are. Let us tell you. Just wait. That'll go a long way. Final Fantasy 15 best parts are all in the first two-thirds of the game. The rest is a hot mess. Yeah, you know, Final Fantasy 15, what it felt like for me, like, I don't know how old you all are, and I'm not asking, but like, I can remember being in college with my friends and us going on like one last kind of like adventure together before we all set off into the real world, you know? One last ride, one last trip, one last fun thing to do together before we set off into the world and go start families and do all that kind of stuff or whatever. That to me is what Final Fantasy 15 felt like. It felt like someone, like, it felt like a heartfelt, like, kind of letter to their more adventurous younger days. And yeah, I mean, for what it was, I felt like, I don't feel like that should have been a mainline Final Fantasy. Like, if that were like a Final Fantasy, you know, subtitle, whatever, you know what I mean? Like Type 0 or something like that. Bigger than Type 0, of course, but, you know, something along those lines, that would have been fine, you know? But as a main line, just wasn't beefy enough. Just wasn't beefy enough. It was a no for you, dog. Yeah, man. I mean, I get it. I get it. Like I tell people all the time, like, I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy 12. I get why people don't like it. I love it. You know, it's Star Wars. It is Star Wars. Like, Final Fantasy 12 is just straight up friggin' Star Wars. That's it, you know? Came out right when you were finishing college, yeah. About the reunion, Cloud, I always thought we would fight him in the Northern Crater, but your recent video has me thinking now. Well, I think we're still going to fight him in the Northern Crater, but we're going to fight just Crazy Cloud who doesn't have his ish together, you know? I think fighting the full incarnation of him at the end of Cloud's Spirit Walk through the live stream would be more potent. Basically, like I said in that video, Heart of Darkness was great. Tecmo's Deception, I think, came out along the same time. Eternal Darkness. There were lots of great games on PS1. PS1 built the horror genre. Survival horror, horror in general. It built the horror genre in games. That was such a great era. Rebirth has a similar problem, but it was the last one-tenth of the game, not the last one-third. I thought the last tenth, well, okay, you know what? Take it back. The last couple of fights in Rebirth, for me, they weren't frustrating, but it was kind of, it wasn't confusing. It was just, after it was over, I was like, huh, those were there. Those were just there. You know? Like, because I was like, how are they going to pull this off here at the end? Oh, it's over. Okay. That was how I felt about those. And I felt like they wasted Bizarro Sephiroth. So are we not going to get Birth of a God? Oh, we gotta get Birth of a God. Have to get it. Have to get it. If we don't get Birth of a God in part 3, I'll be upset. I will be upset. I didn't loathe 13 until I got to Grand Pulse. And as I was running around Grand Pulse, the wide open area, I was like, huh. So this is it. That's exactly what I said. I looked at my roommate at the time. I was like, huh. So this is it. This is it. This is gonna be the whole game, you know, and it was. And the whole thing with Orphan's Cradle at the end, it was. I don't know if I was drunk at the time when I was playing it, but I got to the end. I just kind of had this vibe. I was like, well, that came out of nowhere, you know. I was like, well, that came totally out of nowhere, and yeah. So that was 13 for me. That's why I don't like 13. I don't. I've had people tell me before, they're like, Ray, you just don't like female-led stories. I'm like, are you an idiot? Jill Valentine's my favorite Resident Evil character. You know, like, there are plenty of heroines that I love. 13 sucked. Get over it. 13 sucked. It was convoluted. It was messy. It was on rails for a lot of it. You know, I mean, nah, man, 13 was no good. Let's see. What are we looking at? Do you think FF7 Remake is a sequel? So many unanswered questions, and where was he? The third game and DLC going to be 3,000. No, Remake's not a sequel. Remake is a remake. They've been coming out and saying as much. As far as that goes. Like, they've not come out and spoiled anything, but they're like, we're simply rebuilding Final Fantasy VII. It's not a sequel. Or what was it the people were saying after Final Fantasy VII? Oh, it's a requel. It's a requel. Like, shut up. You're not clever. That word doesn't exist. Sit down. Let the adults talk. Sit down. Let the adults have the conversation here. It's a requel, sir. You got it wrong. It's a requel. Shut up. Go have a seat. Go have a seat in the back of the class. Turn your desk toward the back of the class. I'll talk to you when class is over. Last Tenth of Rebirth was a slog gameplay and fighting wise to me, but all of the story elements, yeah, the story elements were amazing, and what they did with, you know, Cloud suppressing what happened to Aerith and how that plays out, and wonderful. But the battle, like the boss fights, it was just chug, get through. Oh, now we got Zack. Okay, it's Aerith. Okay, now we got Zack again. Oh, we're back with the party. And then I was just kind of like, oh, it's over, you know. I didn't get to enjoy the final boss fights. I felt like the pacing was just pushing you through it. I didn't enjoy it. I really wanted to savor that boss fight at the end, but I didn't get to enjoy it. Now, it was beautiful when you're fighting Genova how they kept Aerith's music playing. Like, just like in the original. Like, I loved that. Like, that wasn't one of the things I went into Rebirth thinking, oh, they gotta have this. I wasn't thinking about it. But when playing it, and I went back recently and played it again, that fight, and that bit, and I was like, yeah, I'm so glad they did that. Because I wasn't even thinking about that going in. Like, my top 10 list of things I wanted to see in Rebirth, if I went back and made that list again, that would be on there. But I wasn't thinking about it at the time. And then when we got to it, I was like, bravo, your boy forgot one. I forgot one. That was what made that scene so gut-wrenching in the original. Like, not only do you lose her, and they're like, dee, 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 as the materia falls, but then, and you're fighting Genova, and it's just Aerith's music playing. I was like, God, man. So I was so glad it was in there. Try to go back through some of the chats here real quick. Doing the harp to get the City of the Ancients. Well, they kind of went a different route with that. Like, you didn't have to do some of the things you had to do before. The hands were cramped up. Yeah, no, I get it. Played FF6 for the first time on iPhone. Wish I had gotten on PlayStation now. At the no return. Well, you can always play it again, Robbie. Resident Evil 3 Remake was not good. You are correct. You are correct. Resident Evil 3 remake was awful. I think I talked about that in a video either today or yesterday. I can't remember. Murray, later. Appreciate you. Keep rocking, brother. You love 13? That's fine, Lion. That's fine. I like bad games too. Sometimes you just like a bad game. Sometimes you just like a bad game, brother. I like bad games. I like all kinds of bad games. If I like a bad game, I won't defend it. I'll be like, I know it's a bad game, but I love it, so step off. How's life in USA? My second home. I've lived in Florida and New York, but haven't visited since 2017. Life is as it is in the US. You know, politics and bullshit and everything else, but you gotta keep your community good. That's what I try to do. I keep my community good. World hunger would have been solved by now. Final Fantasy 13 never happened. That's why we got global warming now. Final Fantasy 13. Parasite Eve must come back. Love it. Square Enix do. Resident Evil will be amazing. Updated and fresh horror and Dino Crisis surely gonna come someday. Yeah, we've talked about that. I just don't think Capcom cares about Dino Crisis like the fan base does. I just don't. Because, you know, I've shared this story before, and I'll share it quickly. Like, when Dino Crisis 2 came out, I was working at a Walmart, and, like, it came in, like, I think it was, like, 6 to 8 double disc games would come in this, like, cardboard box. And we knew what they were. They would come in on Monday nights, and we'd put them out Tuesday morning or whatever. We got, like, 6 of these boxes of Dino Crisis. We sold 2 copies. Dino Crisis 2. We sold 2 copies. We wound up putting them in the clearance bin for like $10. You know, $9.99. We clearanced them out a couple months after they came out. We sold 2 copies. Nobody bought it. Not around here anyway. I think Dino Crisis 1 was cool, but I think Dino Crisis 1 was one of those games that a lot of people picked up. And I know this for a fact. I know this from personal experience. They picked it up. I picked it up. I was like, it's not my thing. I went and traded it in for store credit. I got about $20 for it. Because I traded it in like 3 days after it came out. I was like, I'm not feeling it. Traded it in. I know a lot of people traded their copy of Dino Crisis in. Now you look for it everywhere and you try to find a copy because it's a collector's item kind of thing. But like, I think people remember that game more fondly than the people who bought it when it came out, if that makes sense. So I don't know how eager Capcom is to revisit Dino Crisis. We'll see though. I know it's got a lot of fans. I know it does, so I hope for you all's sake it does get something. But I wouldn't hold your breath. Like every time Capcom talks about remaking games or whatever, revisiting old franchises, people are like, where's Dino Crisis? And they're like, it's in the trade-in bins. You know, it was in the trade-in bins in 98, 99. That's where it was. That's where it is, you know. That's the truth of the matter. But they could make a pretty sick Dino Crisis now, I'll give it that. They could make a really sick Dino Crisis now. Final Fantasy X being better than Final Fantasy IX is not a hot take. Final Fantasy X is widely regarded as one of the greatest in the series. A lot of people say Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy VI. A lot of people say that. I go 7, 6, 10. But 6 and 10 flip-flop for me a whole lot. Chrono Trigger on top. Just kidding. Kinda not. FF16 better than FF8. That is not a hot take. 2 times 8 is 16. Final Fantasy 16 is twice as good as 8. 8 is my least favorite of the series. It just is. Like, I didn't like the draw system. Hated the draw system. Didn't like most of the characters. I liked Zell. I liked Cypher. Hated Squall. Didn't like Renoa. Quistis was okay. Irvin was okay. Selfie was annoying. And the whole school system and everything, it just, I don't know, it screamed like teen drama. You know, it just screamed teen drama. I could not see past it. I did not enjoy it. The card game was amazing, but I did not like Final Fantasy VIII. I didn't like the villain either. Ultimacia, I didn't care much for the villain. Hamaguchi just said they saw Expedition 33's success and are aware turn-based and JRPGs are hot again. They're open to it for FF17. A new spin on FF12's gameplay would be cool. You're right, Brandon. When there's that great picture that went around the internet a few months ago, or back in the summer, or whatever that was, of the Expedition, the Clair Obscura team, Sandfall Interactive, visiting Square Enix's headquarters. They were invited there to come meet everybody. I was like, this is not a pleasure trip. Square Enix brought them out there to interview them, to pick their brains. That's what that trip was about. Absolutely. They can't talk about it, I'm sure. Maybe they can, maybe they have. But that was Square Enix picking their brains. What did you see in turn-based JRPG-esque games that we, who helped create that thing and tried to get everything we could out of that style of game, that we couldn't see? What did you see? And now they're coming out saying, oh yeah, there's value in turn-based. Oh yeah, let's test out, you know, let's pump the brakes on 17 and see exactly what we want to do with 17. Like Final Fantasy 17, I think will be turn-based, more of an action turn-based, less action, more turn-based. That's what I think. I think that's what they're trying to figure out how to do it. I don't think they care about Dino Crisis either, but I think that series has potential. Yeah, well, I'm the same way, Darth Magus. I think it has potential. My quotes are just saying that I was there when it failed. Like, I was there, boots on the ground, when Dino Crisis failed. People remember it more fondly than it actually performed. And I was there, man. I was there. I traded my copy of Dino Crisis 1 in. Like, I handed it to the guy at EB Games. I was there at Funko Land, whatever it was called at the time. So yeah, I remember that fondly. It's got potential. You could do some cool stuff with it. But they haven't yet, and I don't think it's on their radar to work on it. They've got so many other projects to get to. So many other things that could make more money for them and be more critically acclaimed than a Dino Crisis game. But this industry surprises you all the time. That's why I love it. So we will see. We could get a wildly pleasant surprise at some point. Final Fantasy VIII 710 is my order. Oh wait, hang on. I'm annoyed I started buying movies and games online. I still have all my copies. We evolving bad now. Oh, I can't believe Harry Potter games sold 32 million, but Resident Evil 18? Like three. I don't know what you're trying to say there, but Harry Potter was gonna sell like chips, like bags of chips, you know, buying per chip. Harry Potter has such an install base. People that didn't have systems went out and bought a system to play Harry Potter. Non-gamers got Harry Potter and played it because they wanted to be in that world. That was the allure of that game. Like that was why that game sold like it did. It wasn't the best game that came out, but it was definitely the most popular. It's gonna be like Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out, right? It's immersive. It's immersion. You're in that world. You get to run around and pop people and live a life of crime after you clock out of your 9-to-5er and come home and kick your feet up and undo your belt and crack open a beer. Like, I'm gonna go fuck some shit up today in Grand Theft Auto 6. That's the allure of those games. You know, Grand Theft Auto 6, I don't think it's gonna be a great game, but it's gonna be probably the best-selling game of all time. And same thing with Harry Potter. I think it was an okay game, but it sold that much because people wanted to be in that world, so to speak. But yeah, no, like the Resident Evils and the Final Fantasies of the world are better games, but they're never going to outsell something like that's a major IP like that. Like Final Fantasy, I've said it before many times on this channel, it's a very niche audience. We are a very niche audience. Like, that's why Final Fantasy is never going to do Battlefield numbers. It's never going to do Call of Duty numbers. And it shouldn't. If it gets to the day where it's doing those numbers, they're not making Final Fantasy correctly. Because Final Fantasy isn't supposed to appeal to the masses. It's just not. It's fantasy storytelling. It's for people who have, like, and I'm not trying to sound like looking down, like the vampires looking down from the balcony. I'm not trying to sound like that, but it's to appeal to people who have like a real thirst for high-level storytelling. It's not about instant action, instant dopamine release. It's about the long play. It's about people who enjoy a good story and want to enjoy good gameplay and character development and all these other things. We're conditioned to enjoy a good story. That is a niche audience when it comes to video games. It just is. And that's okay. I'm happy to be a part of a niche audience. As long as they keep delivering what they're supposed to deliver, I'll be happy with it. So it'll never do those numbers, and that's okay. That's okay. But that's also why the development costs for JRPGs and stuff like that should not be what it is for a Battlefield or something like that, because that would not be a sustainable formula. That's a good call, Steeler. Yeah, X and 6 flip-flop, yeah. Or 10. I called it X. Oh my god. I remember when Final Fantasy X came out, everybody was like, oh, Final Fantasy X. Because everything was X when it came out in like 2000, 2001. Final Fantasy X, man. I'm like, oh god, shut up. It's Final Fantasy X. I just called it Final Fantasy X. Oh my god. Have you seen the leaked worlds for Kingdom Hearts 4? They need to stop the mobile nonsense. Yeah, I stopped on Kingdom Hearts a long time ago. I'm not a Kingdom Hearts guy. I stopped at 2 when it started getting into like Birth by Sleep and 1.5 remake, all this other kind of just bullshit. I was like, no man, I'm not. I'm out. I'm out. I enjoyed 1. I really enjoyed 2. But when they dropped the Final Fantasy stuff, I was out. Yeah, I heard the Harry Potter game was really fun the more you played it. No, you're good, Robbie. Simpsons Hit and Run. Simpsons Arcade game. Simpsons Arcade game was the ish. Boss Lady's best friend literally bought her first console of her life to play Hogwarts. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. There are hundreds of thousands of stories like that out there. Best to worst. FF7, Final Fantasy 16, 4, 15, and 6. Last Soldier. I like your list. I like that list. I would go, if we're just doing mainline Final Fantasies, I'd go, my personal one would be Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10, 6, 12, and 5. If you're throwing tactics in there, it's Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy Tactics, 6, 10, and where does that put me? 12. No? I'd go 7 Tactics, 6, 12, and 10. There's just something about Ivalice I love, man. I would do Final Fantasy 12 over Final Fantasy 10. There was just more shit to do, man. I loved the hunts in Final Fantasy 12. Just having stuff to do, doing those hunts, going out the grinding, and I liked the Gambit system. I did, because I liked how you could set up. Basically, you had your quarterback, and you had your one person basically quarterbacking the battle, right? Overseeing the battle. You had people set up to do different things. You could jump in and control them and do different things. Once I got into the Gambit system, I loved that battle system. Like, I spent a whole summer just getting that system down in like 2006, 2007. Like that summer that game came out, like I was on it, dude. Like I was a Gambit master. And I've bought the Zodiac Age, but I've never played the Zodiac Age, the remaster. I've never played it. I always just break out my PS2 and play my PS2 copy of Final Fantasy 12. But I need to start the Zodiac Age at some point. I do need to play that sometime. Final Fantasy is more story-based, but Parasite Eve was great story and gameplay, and the horror twists if completely remade. Dude, like, Parasite Eve would be amazing. I champion Parasite Eve all day, every day. Make that game. Yep, Steelers, that's right. JRPG has to be niche. It's got to be. It's got to be. It's almost like preserving the quality of it, you know? Bigger isn't always better. More isn't always great, you know? As far as numbers, as far as like, our install base is like, we're going to have 10 million units sold the first week. Well, good for you. But I played your game and it's not great, you know? Whatever. So, anyway. Ray, as a vendor, do you enjoy the larger conventions or the smaller ones, and why? Just curious about that part of your life. I love the big conventions. And the reason being is like when I am locked in and engaged with people, I don't get tired at these conventions. If I'm at a smaller convention and you go through lulls for like an hour or two where you don't have anybody come by or talking, and it kind of stinks. It stinks for you, and I also feel for the convention runner, because I'm like, you'll look over and you'll see a guest that you know was at least a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 guarantee that they had to bring in there, and you see no one there, and you're just like, you feel bad for the convention runner, you know. I've had a couple of guarantees in the past couple of years, and you know, I met my guarantee, thankfully, you know, because people bought copies of ARAURA. They were there for that. It's funny because I do these conventions and most people don't know me for Final Fantasy, YouTubing, video games, Resident Evil, all that stuff. They don't even know I have a channel. They're there to pick up ARAURA, to check out what's going on, to pick up the newest books, pick up the newest t-shirts, all that kind of stuff. And so you kind of have to switch gears. I do this nightly, daily here on the channel. And then I switch off and I go over here, I come over here, I work on my stuff, I open my programs. But the bigger conventions for me, like I did a couple of anime conventions this year. Huge. So I prefer the bigger, not the mega conventions, but like more kind of your mid-level Midwest conventions, because it gives you a little respite, and it's just enough people come through, shaking hands, taking pictures, getting hugs, and all that kind of stuff, you know, just spreading the love. Like, that's what I like doing at these shows, is kind of hanging out, getting to know the people that enjoy my work. Like, I like to get to know them. So that's my favorite aspect of that. I appreciate that, by the way, Faith Giant. Rick Smaraki, everything was X back then. You're right. See, you know. You know. The stories are good. I cry a bucket amount. Yep. I know many. Look, I haven't cried hardly ever like I did like while I was playing Clear Obscure. Oh my god. Like the I can't remember the name of the song, but the song it plays when you're fighting Renoir. Like it shows Verso in the party, and then it fades back and you just see Renoir. And the way they have him lit and the way he's looking at you, he doesn't look like the villain. He looks like a loving father. And then it does the pedals and goes, like, dude, it hit me so hard I instantly started tearing up. I had to get up. Like, for those of you that watched that stream, I had to get up. And I was choked up. I couldn't get my diaphragm to stop clenching up so I could talk. Like, it was like this overwhelming emotion I had never felt in any piece of media. No movie, no game, no music, no nothing had ever done that to me, ever. I'm not one of these performative criers that does it for the views. I am not that dude. I'm not. I'm actually the opposite of that guy. Like, I fight it back. Like, I'm like, I know tearing up here would get me about 10,000 more views, but I'm going to fight it because I got to keep it real. I couldn't fight it. It just overwhelmed me. It was overwhelming. Final Fantasy III's forced job system really irked me. There were some parts where if you didn't play as a certain job, you were okay. Yeah, well that was when they were trying to kind of figure out the job system, Zach. That's what that was. I think they've done interviews, Hamaguchi, from that period where no, not Hamaguchi. Kitase, from that period where they've talked about how they were feeling their way out and trying to figure out the mechanics of setting up how they want their job system to work in Final Fantasy and all that kind of thing. And Final Fantasy III does suffer from that a bit. It also hurts the pacing of the game too, in a way. Thought 12 was alright. Didn't like the lack of a main character. That was what I enjoyed about 12. It truly felt like an ensemble cast. You were viewing everything through the lens of Vaughn. Like, he was the one surveying the story. One of the best sub arcs ever in a Final Fantasy game, or even in a Final Fantasy game, was Bosch and Gabranth, the former fallen judge in your party. Looks straight up like James Hetfield from 2000 from Metallica. He looks like 2000's James Hetfield from Metallica, fighting his brother Judge Gabranth. You know, that was such a good story, man. That was such a good sub story, man. Everything, all the writing involved with the Gabranth and Bosch stuff was so good, so good. Really carried that game a lot for me. I didn't like the fan service stuff with Fran so much. You know, Fran and Balthier are fine as a couple and as a romantic beat in that game, but the stuff with Bosch really resonated with me. I liked that a lot. That really carried the story in a lot of ways for me. And the political intrigue. You can't have an Ivalice game without a ton of political intrigue. And they really had it in buckets in that game. I always wonder if we'll ever get a never-ending fantasy where you play forever and it has an update every year and you can make different decisions that change the game. Well, yeah. That's an interesting one. I think World of Warcraft flirted with that in like the late 2000s, I think it was. Until they went, started hitting icebergs over there. Same reason I put 4 over 6. Story was incredible in 4. I love 5. Final Fantasy 5, one of my favorite Final Fantasies, just for the artwork alone. Yoshitaka Amano's artwork in Final Fantasy V is some of the best character design work I've ever seen, ever. Final Fantasy V's character design work from Amano-san, is copied to this day. His style, the look, the vibrance of it, set the standard for RPG character designs to this. You look at Atlas characters, you look at Nihon Falcom characters, go back and look at the original artwork for Final Fantasy V, Amano-san's creations and sketches and his rough art. It is copied to this day. It's a master class in how you design fantasy characters. Love it. Chef's kiss every time. Amano-san. Vampire Hunter D. What? Vampire Hunter D. What? That's right. That's right. Get passionate about Vampire Hunter D, baby. Yoshitaka Amano got the man on my wall. Boom. right beside Kentaro Miura and Outlaw Star and Akira Kurosawa and me. But just because it's my studio, not because I put myself on the level with those guys. The thing in the middle is inspired by the things around it, basically. Did you see streamers play the Resident Evil 9 demo? No. But I've seen that demo like 1,000 times now. I'm so bored of it. It's not even scary anymore. If it's the same hallway demo with the lights going out and the thing coming out of the ceiling, I've seen that until it's basically just like a worn out hammer getting nailed into the post over and over again. I thought 12 was easy. Well, the main storyline wasn't very tough, but some of those hunts are pretty tough. Or maybe I just suck at video games. You might be better than me. That is not beyond debate. I am not great at video games. I'm good at breaking down story elements, but I'm not the most savvy gamer. Just saying. I'm not going to be the guy putting together this is how you beat this guy videos. That ain't your boy. That ain't your boy. My thumbs aren't as fast as they used to be. I used to lay it down on some Tekken though. Boy, you didn't want to come across me in an arcade with my quarter on the machine. Better just walk away. Every time. I would have got you. I would have got you back in the day. But yeah, well, that was the thing, Josh. Like, mastering the Gambit system, it did make the game easy, but that was kind of the point. Like, you had to master the Gambit system to take on, like, those level 60 hunts. Like, those higher level hunts, you had to have that down. And you had to have, like... The thing I loved about the Gambit system is this. If you knew you were coming into a hard fight and you got beat a couple of times, you had a plan and a backup plan. It's like going into the huddle in an offense. You got to have 2 audibles. Like, this play doesn't look like it's going to work. We got to go to another audible. Okay, we got to go to B. We got to go to B. Omaha. That was Final Fantasy 12. It's like, you're up there, you know, first audible doesn't work. You're like, Omaha. That was the Gambit system. That's why I loved it. I know exactly what you mean, brother. My first year was as a convention owner. I was always trying to hype up my vendors and make sure they were getting as much. Yeah, man. And that's the thing too, Faith Giant, is like whenever I do a show, I really try to make sure that, you know, I am like, especially when people have me out as a guest, I'll tell them, I'm like, hey, like, give me all of your, I'll share all your stuff. You know, just let me know what it is. I'll share it. I'll promote it, you know, and I'll even make like my own vignettes and stuff like that and share them as we get closer to the show. Because if people are going to have me out as a guest, and especially like pay me a guarantee, I'm going to give them their money's worth. I'm going to make sure that they know that I got their back. You know, you made the right choice bringing me in. I got your back. You know what I mean? And I also got to represent that. Got to represent the brand. You know, got to represent my story. I am a representation of me and everybody who supports me. I'm a representation of you when I'm out there. Like, and so anybody who is attached to me in some form or another, if you're in my orbit, I'm representing you. And I need to let everybody know that. You know what I mean? So I can be a little rough around the edges sometimes, but I'm always got a good heart and I've always got people first, you know, and that's, so when I'm out there doing conventions and stuff like that, I make sure people know that. And present myself and hold myself accordingly. If that makes sense. Got into a fight and I didn't have to press anything, just watch them melt. Yeah, man. The Gambit system was goated. Gambit system is goated, man. Y'all are high if you don't like that Gambit system. I wish they would do another Final Fantasy Tactics game more like the first Final Fantasy Tactics game. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance just didn't interest me. Also, wasn't about to drop money on Game Boy Advanced. You know, that was my thing. I later played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance on an emulator, but it doesn't have the same magic. And for me, Final Fantasy Tactics OG from '98, it's the writing. It's the writing that makes that game so special. The War of the Lions, the level of writing. and detail into the narrative, and the meticulous characterization of all of your different comrades and your main character Ramza and all these other people. It's hard to find a better written game. Even the OG Final Fantasy VII isn't written as well as Final Fantasy Tactics. They went in on that game. That's the best written video game I've ever played. And it would have been hard for Tactics Advance to even come close to that. With the team they had on Tactics Advance, it would have been hard to even come close to that. What up, Mega Jetty? How we doing? They're talking about if Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles does well enough, they're going to make a whole new Final Fantasy Yeah. Based off the 50-year war. Dude, I'd be in. I'd be in. Like, having like a young Balbanes. But see, here's the thing, though. One of the crazy, wild things about Final Fantasy Tactics was the Lucavi. And the Zodiac Braves. Like, could they incorporate stuff like that people didn't know about? Sure they could. You know, that's kind of the whole point of Final Fantasy Tactics, is that no one ever knew these things existed. It just now came out in the Dry Church papers. Like, no one knew this stuff happened. Like, these monsters, and people thought these people were just killed in the war. No, they became monsters and were killed. You know, so yeah, you could do something like that. I guess most people our age fell out of love from games. It's hard because even sometimes on movies and games I can't focus and just mash the buttons and ignore the story. Yeah, like when you get of a certain age, you have just like different priorities. You know what I mean? And games kind of fall by the wayside. Unfortunately, because, you know, I've been fortunate enough, I can't play games like I used to, but I'm fortunate enough to still be able to be immersed in that world and speak of them with you. And when one comes out that I really want to play, I make the time to play it. I can't play everything that comes out, but if I'm super curious about a game, I know I can't get to it, I'll throw on a Let's Play from a streamer or something like that while I'm sitting here working on my other screen, working on the things I need to work on. Whether I'm doing graphic design or animation or anything like that, I can get that done and still be caught up with the game and still be enjoying it right along with them, you know? So that's kind of the beauty of the age we live in. Like, I love watching other streamers. That's random streamers. I don't have any I like in particular, but I'll look for a game and I'll watch it. And if the first half hour of them playing the game really catches me, then I'll actually go buy it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make time because I want to know what it feels like to play that game. I want to know what it's like to be in there playing that game. Not a lot of games do that for me, but some games I know right off the bat I'm going to play. Like Clair Obscur, Final Fantasy VII. Any Final Fantasy that comes out, I'm going to play it. I'm going to give it a shot. For a while, any Square Enix game that came out, I was going to give it a shot. But after Valkyrie Elysium and the Something Chronicles and a couple of other misses, I was like, nah, Square Enix doesn't get the automatic buy from me anymore. So, but yeah, you get to a certain age, you get certain responsibilities. You got a family, you got a mortgage, you got people depending on you to put food in their mouth and bread on the table and pay the insurance, all that kind of stuff. You got the mortgage, pay for the roof over their head. When you're the nucleus for that, your priorities change. But it's still important to be tapped into the things you enjoy, because you still have to take care of you, your mental, your spiritual, your physical. And part of that is doing things you enjoy. You got to. We get one life, man. You gotta make time to make yourself happy too. Take care of yourself as well. The first time I ever truly cried during a movie was the ending of Return of the King. Oh man, yeah, that was a good cry, dude. The tears started when Sam carried... Yep, I'm right there with you, Mega Jetty. I'm right there with you. Yep. And then they welled up again when Aragorn's like, my friends, you kneel to no one. Everybody kneels, and all of a sudden the hobbits are taller than everybody. And it's like, I remember, I'll never forget, I went and saw the midnight release of Return of the King. There was a dude in front of me and my buddy Brian. Shit you not, he had a cloak on, and he was holding a copy of the whole Lord of the Rings novels. And I whispered to him, he was in front of me, kind of in front and off to the side. I was like, bro, you're going to be real disappointed, my friend. Guess what? My favorite character from the books, Prince Imrahil of the Blue Swan, Totally just not even in the movies. Like they try to say that blonde hair guy was like, nah, that's not Imrahil. Imrahil was a G. He was a G in the books. Faramir getting drugged back to Osgiliath. Imrahil's like, hell to the gnaw. Let's go get that boy. Swords out. Going after the gnaws. Let's go. You know, Imrahil was out for blood in the books. He was that guy the orcs didn't want to see on the field. You don't want to see that man on the field. Not even in the movie. That's okay. Lord of the Rings is still the greatest movies ever made. Still the greatest movies ever made. Fan service. 4 a.m. Yo, Robbie. Well, appreciate you. Try and get some rest. I'm thinking about doing some more midday streams, so maybe you can catch me on midday. Here, midday sometime, evening for you. But I'm trying to... I've got a lot of people from across the pond that watch my content and stuff and would love to catch my stream. So I'm trying to think maybe 2, 3 in the afternoonish I can come on and do like a midday kind of stream and do a night stream or something like that. I'm kicking around ideas right now, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. For Final Fantasy VII-3, I know the world map is going to be bigger with reused assets. I wonder if the underwater exploration will go beyond the Central Ocean. I hope so. If you're going to map the whole world, I hope you map the whole ocean. Or at least the parts that stretch to the corners. I don't know if they're going to map like a whole globe. I don't think they're going that deep, but if they do, hey, let's go. Let's go. How's Knights of the Round Summon even going to work? Haha, I wish the characters disappeared for some. Hopefully Chadley has run out of batteries. Yeah, I think... I made that Knights of the Round summon video theory proclamation before I kind of knew how summons were going to work in general in the game. So, I don't know. You can't keep them all in the field. Maybe they just, every time one comes in, they land, they form a circle around the field. And then like as Arthur comes in for the final blow, like they're making like a circle around the field. And then just like one last devastating blow, you know, and then gone maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Lots of different ways you can go with that. I was just thinking. I was like, yeah, circle. Yeah. That's something I'm using in Aurora though, so I don't want them to use it. I'm not going to change anything in Aurora. Sometimes I'll see other games and other shows and stuff, do stuff I haven't been able to show the world yet in my story, and I'm like, I'm not changing it. I'm not changing it. You know, it's like, I'm not changing it. I swear to God, I'm not changing it. And then I wind up changing it, but I'm not changing some things. Resident Evil 9 needs to show more Raccoon City ruins, maybe even the Arclay Mansion ruins. The new environments are getting boring. Mega Jetty, I was bored with what they've shown us after Gamescom. Like, and I've been openly critical of Capcom about what they did to all of us at Tokyo Game Show. Like, we're having a special stage presentation for Resident Evil. No, you didn't. You had some local personality fumble through the same demo we've seen 100 times. So, they must have a contract with Game Awards Inc. to only show the new stuff at the Game Awards. So, that's where we're going to see it. And that's when you all will know that Ray knows his marketing stuff. You all will know without a shadow of a doubt that I know my marketing stuff. That's where you'll see it. That's how you'll know. Bob's your uncle. Anyway, Tekken 3 is out on PS Plus today. What a shout. Yes, I saw that earlier. Tekken 2 is my GOAT, but Tekken 3 I liked. People kind of shit on Tekken 3. I liked it. I like Tekken 3. But Tekken 2 in the arcade, I was... Ray Murder. Ray Murder on the Tekken 3 machine. You don't want to come up to me. You don't step up to me, you're going to lose your quarter. You're about to lose your quarter. Hope you bought everything you needed in there, because you're about to lose these quarters. Yeah, the Resident Evil 2 remake, they're doing an arcade cabinet for that, right? Or like a sit-down arcade experience, a first-person POV kind of thing. I think I saw something about that. Johnny DLC. Will that play like a Katamari game? That would need to play like a Katamari game. I'm doing good, Mega Jetty. Doing good. Hanging out with all of you all, so I'm doing great. COFFMANITE Tuesday night. This is like one of the highlights of my week. Ray, do you do any conventions in Tennessee? Yes, I do. I do Fanboy. I do... I usually do like Knoxville or Smoky Mountain anime usually. I didn't do Smoky Mountain anime this year, but those are Tennessee shows I've done in the past. I almost did Memphis last year, but I didn't do it. Almost did Memphis because Johnny Young Bosch and Michelle Ruff were there, and both of them were on ARAURA. So I was thinking, hey, you know, what if I came down and we did a big panel together, and you know, we showed ARAURA, and they were all like, yeah, that'd be great if you can make it work. And then I just couldn't make it work out. Well, I had family obligations and stuff here. Couldn't make it down to Memphis that weekend, so that was the weekend we actually put the pilot on YouTube that weekend. I would love the next mainline Final Fantasy to have some more varied races, kind of like 9, 10, and 12. Especially, oh yeah, absolutely. I think Final Fantasy is best when you've got like a bunch of different types of races in there. I think that's really cool. That's a great idea. Barry Saxman, welcome to the chat. I would love to talk to you about book writing. I've written a horror movie based on Revenge from a Twisted Person, my autobiography, and a children's novel about magic cats. LOL, what a mix, but not sure. Yeah, dude. On my ARAURA channel, I'm going to start doing some live streams where, you know, if there's enough interest in it, I talk writing, concepts behind how I write, and art, directing, producing, all that kind of stuff. So if you're ever interested in that, hit me up, and we might do some live streams over on the ARAURA channel about that. How to finish them, lots of rules, and publishing, it's hard unless you're well known. Yeah, even if people kind of know who you are, it's still really hard. Like, I published a horror novel back in 2019, and with all the stuff I've been working on, I've been trying to get to the second novel. I've got it outlined, and I've got the rough idea for it. But man, just you would think just sitting down and banging out 60,000 words wouldn't be terribly hard, but it's hard to find the time sometimes, man. And then when you get it done, then you got to get it in front of people. So yeah, I feel your pain. I'm there every single day. Every single day. So I know. If you ever need to talk, hit me up on social or anything like that. DM me. I'd be happy to talk to you about whatever you might want to know in that regard. Hey Ray, I look forward to your FF7 DLC future games video. I pray Square... lost it. Pray Square has multiple installments and turns FF7 into its own universe of games. Well, when we started talking Final Fantasy VII about a couple months before Remake came out, I have told everybody, and I have been on record as saying that Final Fantasy VII is pretty much its own franchise. Like within Final Fantasy, FF7 is its own franchise. Like anytime there's a third party thing with Square Enix from another company or whatever, or a side game or something like that, they always throw Cloud in it. Cloud is always in it. Cloud, Strife, Sephiroth. I mean, they both made it into Smash. You know, Cloud and Sephiroth both made it. Cloud was in Smash for a long time, and Sephiroth finally made it in a few years ago. Yeah, FF7 is its own franchise, for sure. I don't know if legally it is. I mean, legally, no. I mean, but yeah, FF7 is treated like its own franchise, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. My mom and I arrived late for the Return of the King viewing due to a snow blizzard. We missed the Gollum origin and arrived when Gollum was waking Frodo and Sam before shifting to Isengard. Isengard. How good was Christopher Lee's voice in those movies? God, Saruman, his voice is so amazing. And Gandalf. Like, I could listen to Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee read automotive hand manuals for hours and just be like, I didn't know that you could reverse. I didn't know you could roll the windows down from the side panel. Thank you, Christopher Lee. I didn't know I could pop the boot with my key fob. Thank you, Gandalf. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. Just love the lore and the world and characters. Yeah, Lord of the Rings. I tell people all the time, like, when I'm pitching ARAURA at shows and people are finding me and like, hey, tell me about this, man. And they're looking at the monitor. I've got stuff running. Like, if you took classic 90s, 2000s anime and manga and the Lord of the Rings and put it all in a blender, that's ARAURA. That's what ARAURA is. I tell people that, and then they don't believe me. And then they buy the books and they come back the next day and they'll be like, yeah, man, that's exactly. When's the next one coming out? I was like, well, you just took my 3 novels and read them all last night. It's going to be a bit for number 4 comes out. Gonna be a bit for number 4. I hope your KOTOR, wrong game. Knights of the Round theory is true, and you have to fight each one on a side mission to collect. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's good padding. That's good padding in a game, right? That's giving you stuff to do and working toward a goal. Do you think it's weird every game in a new game? And do you think it's weird every game is a new game and you can't take materia? Yeah, man. That seems like hard work, build up characters. Yeah, man. That was one of my hang-ups coming out of Remake. I was like, look, I know they're probably going to nerf us in Rebirth, but I hope they don't. I want my stuff to carry over. And that was my one ask from Remake to Rebirth. And I guess they felt like they just didn't know how to make it happen or couldn't make it happen or something or other. But yeah, I was disappointed by that. Let us know the next time you make it to Tennessee for a convention. We'd love to come out and show some love and support. Well, yeah, absolutely. Would love to. Actually, I'm off of shows until March. I'm working hard to finish the OVA for ARAURA. We're doing a 1-hour OVA. We're taking that rough cut of the pilot that I did. Instead of just doing a pilot episode and a second episode, we're combining them all into a 1-hour OVA. So that's what I'm working on right now. Getting all the keyframing done right now, and then do this. But anyway, I'm not doing any more shows until March, so I can get it all done by the spring. So ready to launch, ready to rock and roll, and get out there and get this thing picked up and start making some big announcements. Also working on the game. Got to get more work rolling on the game, and we've got a lot happening as far as that's concerned. Actually, I'm waiting on an email from somebody, as a matter of fact. Let me see if I got it. No, do not have it yet. Do not have it yet. Anyway, so yeah, absolutely will let you know. Remember during the Rebirth grind, there was a bunch of creators saying if I don't keep my materia, I'm not going to play it. The game came out and yeah, that's how it is all the time, Josh. Yeah, like if it doesn't do this, I will not be there playing it. Hour 1, load it up, streaming it. Eat it up, boys. Enjoy. We didn't give you what you wanted. You're going to play it anyway. We know it. And Advent Children on DLC. Yeah. Ace the Chef. That was an easy call from the beginning. Like, they haven't officially said they're going to do it. He said it's a maybe, it's a what if the last game does well. That's a carrot to get you to go buy that game. To pre-order it when they announce the pre-order window, which I think we'll get the announcement trailer Game Awards. I think we'll get the pre-order window trailer next summer, maybe. You know, I don't think they'll start pre-orders super early. If we get a pre-order trailer in the spring, that game's coming out in 2026. Like, because if we get a pre-order trailer, it's going to have the release date with it. They're not going to drop a release date trailer a year before the game comes out. I don't think. Like, games have done that in the past. I don't think they would do that now. Maybe. I don't know. You never know. That's why this business is crazy. I've been writing since I was 15 in middle school. Had 2 different stories that I eventually merged into one. Built fine-tuning, getting closer to completion. But yeah, writing a story is not easy. Yeah, man. Like, you will wad your story up and your artwork and everything and throw it in the trash 5 times before you find one that works. Like, I put on X, I don't know, about a year or 2 ago. Like, I found an image of me holding the first stapled copy of ARAURA. That was a rough comic issue. And I threw that one away and redid it twice until I finally decided on a graphic novel format. But yeah, man, even when you think it's done, it ain't done. That's why it's good to have a good editor, or at least know people that can give you honest answers on stuff. Next week is Nuts Ray Zelia and Dragon Quest 1 and 2. Well, for me, it's Zelia first. Zelia's up first. I've got that one. It's going to be locked and loaded. Tales of Zelia. I can't wait to get back to Jude and Milla and playing through that. Like, Alphen is the low-key goat of that game. Alphen and Gaius? You kidding me? I love that Gaius' voice actor is Roy Mustang. Like, when you're playing as Gaius in Tales of Zelia, I'm just like, I just want to be like, you know, damn it, Elric! Ed Elric, get back here! Snap, boom, snap, boom. I kept wanting Gaius to snap his fingers and blow something up. Aurora sounds amazing. Definitely need to check it out after stream. Thank you so much. Yes, check it out. Please do. And let me know what you think. Everything, well, the pilot that's on the Aurora YouTube channel is the rough cut of the pilot. And when I say rough cut, it is a rough cut. So, bear that in mind when watching it. But that is, it's a labor of love. That's my baby. So, I will only get the pre-order if the bonuses are worthwhile. Yeah. Square got bit in the ass by announcing the release date for Remake 2 early. Yeah, and ended up delaying the game. Please don't... Yeah, exactly. Like, I've still got the original... the polo that they wore at the press events and stuff like that. The March 3rd date. I've still got the polo in my closet with the March 3rd date on it. Like, the Final Fantasy VII Remake release date, March 3rd, and they bumped it to April or something like that. I've still got that hoodie. I've still got that polo in my closet. I think I wore it when Rebirth dropped. I know I wore it when Remake dropped. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm going to freshen up my beverage. I'll come back. Don't go anywhere. Unless you're going to get something to eat or drink, and I understand. We are back. Josh says they did a good job on Rebirth. Bit of a sidetrack, but I'm looking forward to the new retro game. Terminator 2D, dude, I saw that. I know you're a big Terminator fan. I know you are. We've talked about it before. No Fate, November 26th, was supposed to drop September 5th, but the delay works. Yeah, nice. Hope to get it pre-ordered. Theory, there are 3 Sephiroths and 3 Aeriths. You might be right. You might be right. My birthday is not this Friday, but next Friday. Halloween is your boy's birthday. I know, it makes sense. I know, it makes sense. I joke with people all the time that I gotta make the most, even if reincarnation is real, I gotta make the most out of this trip around the sun because, or this trip through the mortal realm because I will never win the birthday lottery ever again. So, chances are very slim. Fung Film reviews. Tell me you are believing the Sephiroth redemption, but dude, no, what? Tell me you're not still believing that nonsense, the Sephiroth redemption. No, absolutely not. Everything by the end of Rebirth points to. Now I know we're getting the backstory in Ever Crisis and everything, but no, Sephiroth redemption story. No. That's like saying. Oh, so we're getting. We're getting the Sauron redemption story by the end of end of Two Towers, right? Because they released the side novel talking about how he was tricked by Morgoth. No. No, that's not how storytelling works, man. Y'all need to stop with that. Thank you for the happy early birthday. I appreciate it. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Which 2 ideas was that, Fung Film Reviews? I gotta know. We're finally getting a game cover and pre-orders. Probably a collector's edition for RE9 in 8 more days. Yeah, game cover, but I want to see more footage. I want to see new footage. Vader's redemption makes sense because they laid the groundwork for it. Like, they laid the groundwork for Darth Vader's redemption at the end of Empire Strikes Back, when they revealed that Luke was his son. That was there. You find out that he's Anakin Skywalker, So, last 2 ideas. So, what last 2 narrative ideas did you... I'm talking narrative ideas, not releases and stuff like that. You're talking about the narrative. You're talking about the writing within the story. Now you gotta defend this. You came out, now you gotta defend it. What are the 2 narrative ideas that came true that you said? Let's talk about it. Well, we know Jenova manipulated Sephiroth. That's been the case. That's always been the case, that Jenova manipulated Sephiroth. That's always been the case. Yeah, like the purple smoke has been reminiscent of Jenova from the beginning. We talked about that. But the thing is, they're not going to neuter Sephiroth. They're not going to neuter the best villain they ever created. They're just not going to commit business suicide like that for fan fiction. They're not going to do it. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that. And I know the whole Masamune thing in Ever Crisis. I get all that. I get they're infusing that as canon. But that doesn't change the fact that he bragged to Sephiroth to his face about killing his mother slowly. These things matter. These things matter. We'll see. We'll just have to agree to disagree on that one. We will see. We will see. I'm not saying like all I'm saying is it would be business malpractice for Square Enix to neuter the greatest video game villain ever made. That would be like, whoever makes that decision there, that would be career suicide to satisfy the whims of people who want that as fan fiction. That would be career suicide. That's a cool idea, Zach. The purple and silver for the logo. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. But yeah, I'm not trying to shoot your ideas down, Fung Film Reviews, but it's like, I don't know. I just feel like the way they paint Sephiroth and the way they write him they're not writing him into a direction by the end of the second act where they're actually humanizing him to you. They're not. They're actually showing him as a manipulative POS. They're actually portraying Sephiroth as a very manipulative POS. In Ever Crisis, but not in the main line of the story. That's like saying, you know, you've got the Star Wars trilogy. Pick whichever trilogy you want. You know, but Timothy Zahn's writing him this way in the books, so it doesn't matter. It's what they show you in the movies. It's got to be like, if they're gonna do that with Sephiroth, they better put that in the third game. It has to be in the main body of work. Ever Crisis is not the main body of work. It's not. It's supplemental fiction. It's supplemental to the story. It's more of like, hey, you can be filled in better if you go back and play these games. If they're going to go that route, they have got to put it in the third game, or I'm calling bad writing on it. I will call bad writing on it. Yes, exactly. It's the whole Grand Admiral Thrawn thing. Right. So if they paint him that way from the beginning of the third game, Redemption, Part 3, Refund, Return, whatever it's going to be called, then I mean, I won't be fine with it, but I'll be like, okay, well, they put it in the main story, they made their choice. But thematically, you have an icon of a villain. Iconic. I don't want... Now, and I understand, everybody says, but Darth Vader. Darth Vader's a rare case. Darth Vader is a rare case. And I get it, Sephiroth was a war hero, all that kind of stuff. But he was created. He was created with the connection to Jenova. He was created with her cells. He was going to get jumped by Jenova. It was going to happen. Darth Vader is not the same thing. That's not the same thing. And Sephiroth is a tragic character. I am not debating. He's a very tragic villain. Every great Fallen Knight story is a tragic story. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I've made this argument till I'm blue in the face. Didn't happen to Angeal, but it was a different set of cells they used for Angeal, if I'm not mistaken. Right? I think. Anyway, it gets all convoluted once you get to Crisis Core. The base story of Final Fantasy VII, nothing wrong with it. It's actually perfect in many ways. And I don't know. You've got... This is what Square Enix has done. This is why they're trying to bring everybody back in with Hamaguchi's wording when he goes out there. He's like, look, no, we're not trying to, we're just trying to infuse new pieces of Final Fantasy VII and kind of rebuild to keep the core story as it is. He has said that. We're going to keep the core narrative as it is. You can't say that and redeem Sephiroth. That is antithesis to the core of the story. It's like unmaking the core of the story. And fans want the game to be about Sephiroth. It's about Cloud. It's about Cloud Strife. It's not about Sephiroth. It's about Sephiroth in the way that he is the villain. He is the dragon the Cloud has to slay. He's a charismatic dragon. But anyway. Yeah. I don't know if they'll do that, Mega Jetty. I don't see that any way you can get away from doing that. I think somebody's going to have to bring it up to him. But it depends on who has moments with him, right? The whole party may not have a chance to have a conversation with, you know, Sephiroth. Vincent probably has something to say. That one's up in the air to me. I haven't given much thought to that. It would make sense if they wrote that in there, but I don't think it would matter. I think it'd be something like, you know, that woman served her purpose or something like that, you know. Yeah, Advent Children DLC, that one's kind of been the joke theory for a long time. Like, oh, would it be funny if they did Advent Children DLC? Now, I think they're really going to do it. Like, I think they're actually going to do it. And what's funny is because you've got a lot of... Wait. My phone just started, like... Trying to, like, did you want me to call so-and-so? No. I don't want you to call anybody. I'm just trying to talk to people on my stream right now. I think it heard me talking to myself. And it's like, oh, he must need help. No. But yeah, a lot of people... You know, Square Enix, they've got this whole thing they've created. I think what's happened is I think they're looking at this whole body of work they're creating, how amazing these assets are for Gaia that they've created. They're like, man, can we get some more use out of this? I mean, this is some pretty awesome stuff we're making here. Can we get more use out of it? Yeah, let's start dropping hints that if it sells well, we might make some DLC. So yeah, now I think it's almost like a sure thing that that's going to happen. I think it's almost a sure thing. And it's the chance to fix Advent Children. It's a fantastic chance to fix Advent Children. So, I'm all for that, you know. Like we said at the beginning of the stream, Advent Children's action scenes are great. The problem is the movie in between the action scenes. That's the problem. What's the location we are most looking forward to in Part 3? Wutai, Rocket Town, Great Glacier, Medill. I'd say my most anticipated area in the whole thing was Temple of the Ancients, and it did not disappoint. Did not disappoint. I think Rocket Town and Wutai, for me, exploring the ocean in the sub is going to be amazing. And the underwater base. I think the underwater reactor is going to be so crazy. Because I think you're going to be running around and there's going to be like these like translucent tube things you're going to run through. Like these big hallways, these big corridors. There's like thick glass and you can see the ocean as you're running through on every side. I mean, that's going to be awesome. That's something I'm really looking forward to personally. You think Zack will fight Cloud when he's bad? Yeah, sure, why not? If Zack and Aerith are present during Cloud's Spirit Walk and they have some version of Reunion Cloud they have to face off to free Cloud, then yeah, I mean, that's absolutely going to happen there. How will relocating the Temple of the Ancients from the Southern Islands to the Northern Continent change things in FF7R? Will there still even be a Bone Village? I think there will be a thing like the Bone Village. I think there will be new areas. I think we're going to see a lot of new areas. I would love to see Benora and Modeoheim. Like, you could, like, if So I hate going back to Ever Crisis all the time. But if you're going to include things from Ever Crisis, you got to include the towns and the locations and stuff too. You can't just take some of it and not use all of it, you know? Like, that's what's very confusing. It's like we'll pick and choose what we have in Ever Crisis and put in these games. Like, make it count or make it not count. Pick which one you want to do, you know? Get a better hold on your project manager on this thing. It's like, what are we using? What are we not using? Let's be clear. Well, I think we're going to get Yuffie fighting Nero in game. I think we're going to get Nero and Vice in game 3. Because they planted the seed for that in the Temple of the Ancients. So I think we're definitely going to get them in the game proper. Well, they had their shot at Crisis Core with Reunion. I know it's just a remaster, but I wish they had fixed some of the writing in that. They didn't. I'm moving on. I don't need to go back to Crisis Core again for anything. Moving on. We went through Reunion. We did it. Moving on. The ocean's going to be awesome. The sub mini game is actually my favorite mini game in Final Fantasy VII. The submarine game, I love it. It's like a classic arcade game. It's so good. Are you going to replay OG anytime within the next year before Part 3 comes out? Yeah, absolutely. It might be sometime next year. It's not going to be anytime soon. I know that for sure, but I definitely want to play it again. I won't be able to hit that timing I hit last time. If you all remember, when the night that Remake came out, like at midnight, the stroke of midnight, I timed it. And this is how many times I've played Final Fantasy VII. I timed it to where I was like, man, we're gonna be real close. We're gonna be real close to midnight. If I start playing at, I think I started playing at 10:15. Now I knew how much was left. I was like, if I start playing around 10:15 and get through this and do this and do this, it's gonna be real close to midnight. Wouldn't it be cool if we finished right at stroke of midnight? And we finished. The credits started rolling. Like Aerith appeared, praying, and the credits started rolling right at 12:01. And then the little notifications came up on my screen and said, ready to use Chocobo Chick, ready to play Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was like, holy shit, we did it. Right at the strike of midnight. No one else did that. That's one of my big claims. That I did that thing. I did that thing. And it got like 100 views. Nobody cared. But it was important to me. It was important to me. So... But I will never hit that timing again. But yeah, we will play it again. So. Huh. Yeah, the weapons, I think you keep the weapons the same as they are. They need to be massive, like Shadow of the Colossus boss fights. You don't have to overthink that one, but you do have to find a way to make it work with the battle system. You do have to find a way to make that happen. I'll agree with that. Do you think Kadaj will look in the remake model and... Wait, how do you think Kadaj will look in the remake model, and how will he do in Part 3? Well, I don't think we'll get Kadaj, Yazoo, or Laz in Part 3. I don't know, I think he'll kind of look like he does, like he did. Like a little edgier, maybe a little more dark around his eyes, kind of like Sephiroth is. Sephiroth is a little pale around his eyes, so I could definitely see him being a little more like that, but a little more menacing looking. Because Kadaj, Yazoo, and Laz, they never looked like a threat to me, especially like Yazoo. I was like, who cares, you know? I think he was the first one dead. Like Yazoo, I think he was the first one to bite it. So if you're going to use those guys, just make them good villains this time. I didn't like their mommy issues. I knew what they were doing with that. I knew what they were doing, but it didn't translate well. It didn't work. And them being the prime villains of the story was really, for me, what made it not great. I didn't like them as villains. I didn't buy them as a threat compared to how strong Cloud should be and the rest of the party. And even like the Turks. Like the Turks should have been able to take out Yazoo and Laws. Kadaj is a little bit tougher, granted. He was the vessel for Sephiroth, but like the rest of the party should have had no problem with Yazoo and Laws. They should have been able to take them out. They all need new voice actor. Oh, actually, Laws' voice actor was okay. But, yeah, I don't know. I need to be able to take them more seriously. Well, I think that's pretty easy, Mega Jetty. Like, I think those weapons in the live stream are like larval baby forms of like the weapons we finally see. I don't think those are full-grown weapons. I think they're like larval, like minnows, like baby weapons. Like they're just being born. Like the planet is just like spitting these things out. Like they're going to grow. They're going to get bigger. And they're going to erupt from the planet. That's what I think. Now what they wind up doing, who knows? Maybe they're just beached whales you have to fight or something. I don't know. Advent Children had me cheering for the Turks because well, that was part of the thing I liked. I liked how it showed Shinra was having a change of heart. I love the Rufus Shinra scene where he gets up out of the chair, throws his thing off, and he throws Genova's remains off the edge. He's like, well, a good son would have known, and just throws her off the edge. And has that whole like Tokyo action movie shot where him and Kadaj are falling off the building and he's firing at him. Rufus was a G in that movie. Rufus was the best part of Advent Children. He was the best part of Advent Children. The Sephiroth and Cloud fight was awesome. That was awesome. But character-wise, like, Rufus was the best part. I loved that Sephiroth finally had a voice. Like, you could finally see kind of what the creators envisioned for how he was going to sound. You know? And that was not disappointing. I was really excited when he started talking. Because the first time I saw the movie, you hadn't seen Sephiroth except for a quick like shot in the trailers, like he's coming at the screen. But you didn't hear him talking or anything. So that was fun. That was really good. Yeah, Reno was good in Remake. I was disappointed that they didn't, you know, I get not recasting him, but I don't know how much of leaving Reno out was because his voice actor passed away. Because usually in situations like that, they just recast the voice actor because they've already spent the assets building that thing into the game. That must have happened early enough to where they could have made the call to leave Reno out. Now, they did play up at the end of Remake that Reno is injured and beat up and that he's kind of taking a break. But he does come back, like, at the end of the game. So, I believe we'll get him off of his sabbatical. Might not be a popular idea. Oh, my chat keeps moving. Hey, might not be a popular idea, but I like the thought of a fighting game including all characters from the party, the Turks, Crisis. Yeah, I still got my copy of Air Guys on the shelf over here. Break out some Air Guys. Air Guys. What a weird game, man. What a weird game. All I do know is that the original FF7 in Japan had only 3 weapons, Sapphire, Ultimate, and Diamond. Yeah, International gave us Ruby and Emerald, yeah. I hope that Part 3 gives us Ruby and Emerald, given we saw only the 2. This is also why Hojo said in Crisis Core... Okay, more of that. Just imagine heading to the sunken ship, the crashed Galinka. The light barely penetrates. Yeah, I know. It's outlined. And a huge shadow moves overhead, blocking the light. Yeah, dude. That's why I'm excited about the deep ocean stuff. It's going to be eerie. Super eerie. I'm excited about it. I can 100% confirm embryonic is not the... Okay. Y'all are still talking about that. Alright. Will Kadaj will help Sephiroth with bringing the worlds together. I don't think Kadaj exists yet. Right? Kadaj doesn't exist yet. So I don't think so. Sephiroth is perfect. Let's see. I was surprised Singh was revealed still alive in Advent Children. I thought his injury in FF7 was fatal. Yeah, you know, I did too. The first playthrough. But apparently there's a line of dialogue that suggests that Singh is alive. I don't remember it, but I've had people tell me that there's a line of dialogue in OG FF7, the original version, that when you go back to Midgar when you're fighting the Turks, that suggests that Singh is still alive. I don't remember that, but I've had people tell me that. His injury in FF7 was fatal for a while, and yet Rufus and Turks got redeemed by Advent Children. Yeah, they did. They're also not the main villains of the story. And, like, I've had people argue with me on that too. It's like, well, the Turks, or they get redeemed by the end of the game. Yeah, that's always been that way. Like, yeah, they dropped the plate on the slums, which is horrible and awful and all those kinds of things, but they portray them in the remake saga as likable, as characters that aren't like evil. They're just at work. And I know that sounds terrible to say it that way, but you know, they're not, you know, primal evil, you know. They're just working. And they work for a company that is evil, but you know, you could argue about that all day. The Arbiter of Fate looked like a big Heartless. Yes, it does. It is in fact just a big Heartless. It is a mini boss Heartless. I'm looking forward to Genesis being back. Hopefully in Game 3, but we'll see. I wonder how Sephiroth's plan for the Wutai War plays into things in Part 3. He seems to want a lot of death, sadness, and anger. Yep. Yep. I don't want to get into another theory right now, but the whole idea with people dying and passing away, that's part of the thing I talked about my theory of all those little worlds and pocket dimensions we're seeing is like the live stream trying to help people move on that weren't ready to move on. What's the best thing for that? It's a war. Sephiroth wants a war. He wants to send as many unwilling souls into the live stream that he can. So the live stream has to filter out these people from negativity and have them ready to move on, overwhelming the live stream, letting all those pocket dimensions in the live stream that collapse and destroy once those people move on to the live stream so he can absorb all that stuff. That was what I had explained after they showed that in Rebirth at the end of the game. That was my take on it anyway. I'm not saying that's what's going on. But that was my take on it. That was always how I interpreted that. Hey, what's up, One Winged Angel? How we doing? Channel member, shout out. How the Gi factor into Part 3. Hey, you made that rhyme. Bars. I don't know. I'm sure they have something up their sleeves for the Gi and for us. That's why I was thinking that, you know, I did that video. I was like, where's everybody going at the beginning of the game? Straight to where they're supposed to, maybe, but I was thinking Cosmo Canyon because they're gonna want to get answers. Maybe they go back and talk to Bugenhagen. Now they've got the black materia. Maybe they go talk to the Gi and like, hey, look, we've got we've got the black materia. What do you think about that? You know, and the Gi go nuts, and you have another fight with the Gi or whatever. You know, I mean, that would be interesting. I think you've got the black materia. I think you have to cross paths with the Gi at some point again. So, when the president is killed by Sephiroth, LeBrock was killed shortly after that, which means Ever Crisis ties in the FF7 remake saga at that moment. Wait. Who's LeBrock? Who is LeBrock? Like, if it didn't happen in Final Fantasy VII, if it was some outlier in Ever Crisis, I don't know what that is. I haven't watched all the Ever Crisis cutscenes yet. So, bars. I can't hate your flow, Mega Jetty. I can't hate on it. Oh, Glenn Holbrook. You're talking about Glenn Holbrook. Okay. Okay. Oh, Holbrook. Okay. I was like, holy shit, who is LeBrock? LeBron? He's out. He didn't play tonight. Who's LeBrock? He's like a Brock Lesnar looking version of LeBron James. That's LeBrock. He comes out in F5 Sephiroth. That's how the game's gonna end. That's how it ends. Livestream City, bitch. Holbrook? Lodbrock? Oh, it's Lodbrock. Where'd I get Holbrook? I don't even know. It's not Holbrook. It's Lodbrock. Okay, that's right. Okay. We were all wrong, and now we're all correct again. Okay. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach Dixon. I can always count on you. Like, Glenn Lodbrock. Okay. LeBrock Lesnar. He does. He's got a very weird last name. But the whole thing with Minerva, too, like, I remember when I was pitching around the Genesis thing, and everybody was like, what about Minerva in the live stream? And I would say offhandedly to people, I'm like, you mean Genova? And people were like, oh, you're what? No, it's Minerva. Obviously, it's Minerva. Tell me who Minerva is. Tell me who Minerva is, because I can tell you who Genova is and what she does. I can tell you that. I can tell you who Genova is and what she does. Can you tell me who Minerva is? Outside of just like something a writer wrote offhandedly because they put something in Crisis Core. I think Minerva is Genova manifesting in the live stream and manipulating Genesis because he has Genova cells. Ding 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 ding. Ding 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 ding. Yeah, but I think like the version of Minerva that we saw sending Genesis back. So it's one of two things. Like, he can't come into the live stream because he has Genova cells, or that is a version of Jenova manifesting as Minerva. It's one of those two things, and that was what I said in all my Genesis stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, she's a manifestation of someone in the live stream, but she could also be a former Cetra that's still conscious in the live stream. Like, because that's what humans do over the ages. They take great people who existed and did great things, and they become like deified over time. So could be the same thing with her. Like, she is just a Cetra that is in the live stream. I know there's a bonus boss fight with her or something like that, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But Genesis being denied entry into the live stream, it's like, we have another use for you, and you've got Jenova cells in you. You cannot come in right now. No, I didn't do the VR stuff in Rebirth. I don't have time. I wish I had time to do all that. I just don't. And I'm not as good at games as you all are. Like, I'm not good enough at video games to platinum them. I can't do it. I get frustrated. I sit there and beat my head against the counter and still get nowhere, so I can't do it. Who's going to be the nuke leader when Cloud is gone? Sid Highwind. Sid Highwind. Do you believe the Glenn is Cloud's dad theory? I do. I do. But I also don't think we should know who Cloud's dad is. Like, I believe Square Enix is kind of traipsing in that direction. But I'm also of a belief that we don't need to know who Cloud's dad is. It doesn't matter. It's more impactful if we never know. Because that means Cloud's just some nobody with strong resolve and a strong heart to be able to counter this ultimate evil. Like this random dude who just wants to be a hero, just wants to look out for people and protect people, that he had the gumption and the will to plant his back foot and punch evil right in the face. And that's all Cloud Strife needs to be. That's it. I don't need parental explanations and all this other kind of stuff. I just don't need it. It's not necessary. And one of the great things about fantasy storytelling is just that. It's fantasy. Like when you start to over-explain things, I don't need to know that midichlorians are what make people use the Force. I don't need to know who Cloud Strife's dad is. Sometimes people just need to be special. And you can say what's special about Cloud is that he's not special. But the fact that he's doing this means he is special to some degree. And I don't need what's special about him explained, because then it's not special anymore. You vibe with me? You vibing with me right now? Well, yeah, he says that. Like, Cloud says that. But there could be a cover-up there. Like, we have seen, you know, that Shinra's not beyond covering up and disappearing people, you know. Like, he went hiking in the mountains and died, never came back, you know. Yeah, that's the thing, Mega J. What makes it so special? Because two of the people that are most important to him were being hurt and being taken down by Sephiroth. And Cloud stood up and said, I'm just a grunt, but I'm not going to let you fucking do that to people I care about. I don't care who you are. That's what Cloud did. You know what I mean? And that's why Cloud is the G. The G. You don't mess with Cloud Strife. You don't mess with the people he cares about. You don't do it. Like Sephiroth just murdered his mother in front of him. And then he's going up. He sees Tifa get struck down. He's seeing Zack getting taken care of. He plants his back foot, grabs the sword in his gut, and throws Sephiroth into the live stream. He said, fuck that dude. That's Cloud Strife. I don't need to know anything else about him. That's all I need to know. That's my hero right there. That's my hero for one of the greatest video games stories ever made. That's my guy. Right there. Print it, cut it. That's him. That's all I need to know. I don't need to theory craft a badass. I don't need to theory craft why a G is an absolute effing 100% G when they're doing G things. I don't need to theory craft that. I just watched him sword gut toss Sephiroth into the live stream. That's all I need to know. Yeeted his ass. Doing G things. That's right. Cloud Strife. Gloud Strife. G Cloud. That's what I'm talking about. G virus. He's got the G virus. Cloud's got that G virus in him. Boy, Sephiroth didn't know what to do with that. My God. Was there tequila in that Diet Coke? I don't even know. I'm getting loopy now. But yeah, like when people like, the reason I took my foot off the gas with the theory stuff is because you can get, I really the double entendre, there you go. It's, you know, talking to a writer here. Well, we're going Final Fantasy 7 and a little Resident Evil there, you know. You get so far down the rabbit hole and so lost in the woods when you do some of these theories, it's easy to not see the forest for the trees, you know. So that's kind of where I was getting to with a lot of these deep dive theories. They're fun to talk about and they're fun to make, but I got to a point where I was like going super meta. Like I was about to write like a whole brand new story with some of the theories I was coming up with, and so I just kind of took my foot off the gas for a little while. I like to think I inspired a lot of people to go do their own theories, and I'm very proud of that. And I like reading your all's theories too. And I'll push back on some, I'll agree with some, but it's fun to see everybody thinking outside the box, because it goes back to the video that I posted earlier today, that little love letter to Square Enix, and how the new legacy for this generation at Square Enix is Final Fantasy VII Remake. That is their new legacy. Like, it's doing for people and creators and creatives what the old game did back in 1997 to 98 when people were playing it. It's inspiring a new generation of people to tell stories, to want to make games, to do all this other kind of stuff. It's doing it again. It's doing it again. And it's like I've said before, kind of jokingly, it's the greatest game ever made again, you know? Not because it's doing things that other games aren't doing, but because it's just simply the greatest story ever told in a video game. It is, and it makes us do this. Like, Last of Us doesn't make people theory craft like this. Other games, Resident Evil, stuff like that doesn't make us theory craft like this. This is fantasy storytelling at its finest, because it makes us, it challenges what we think we know about a story. It makes us think outside the box. It expands your mind. And that's really what's going on with this, and that's why I love talking about it so much. Am I still playing Tactics? I've been grinding on Tactics. I've not been just here for the ride at this point, baby. Just take me on a ride, Square Enix. Take me on a ride. I put my theory out there. I don't want to put 100 different theories out there, because then it's like, well, this guy will say anything. Like, I can think up anything, that's for sure, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to stick to my guns and just let it ride, and they're going to tell their story. What I'm thinking for my theory is not what they're going to do, and that's fine. You know, it's not about being right. It's about helping people think outside the box, man. That's what it's always been about. I've got things that I will defend that I think makes a good story, like the Sephiroth thing with, but I'm just happy everybody's still like thinking outside the box, and it's challenging people to be creative. And I think that is wonderful. So they're doing it again. They're doing it again, and I love it. Am I playing Final Fantasy X? Yes, I've been grinding. It's funny because, like, I haven't played any more story beats since the last time I streamed it, because I haven't been able to be on. But I want to get back to streaming it. I want to get through that so I can play Tales of Xillia next week when it comes out. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. We'll find out, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Yeah, I've just been grinding. It's funny because I'm still at the beginning of chapter 2. Like right where I was in the story. We're still trying to chase down Princess Ovalia. And like my non-story characters, like Agrias and Gafgari and everybody, are like in the high 40s. Like got all these different jobs and stuff. So like I'm gonna be wrecking story battles, but kind of getting wrecked if there's more than 3 goblins on the field because they're all like level 50. So, but it is what it is. I'll deal with it. We'll get through it. Chrono Trigger was the initially planned as the original pitch for Final Fantasy VII. I have heard that before. I don't know much about that story, but I have heard that before. I think it was like a random. I want to say it was on a random forum. I saw that information, a link to some article, or maybe it was a blog post or something like that. Probably some random Tumblr thing. So I didn't buy it, but I've seen that. I never researched or reviewed if that was like legit. So that's legit? Like that's legitimately real? If so, that's interesting. So originally, time travel was canon in Final Fantasy VII. I'm not retracting my statement. It is not canon in Final Fantasy VII. There is no time travel. If Chrono pops up though and it leads to a Chrono Trigger remake, I'll be fine with it. I will be fine with it. If Magus shows up to fight Sephiroth, I'm oddly cool with it. That's fine. It's just... Yeah, man, Theorycraft is super fun. Like, another reason I kind of had to stop is people would like want to compete with me. I'm like, no, this is not a competition. You know, we're all right until we're all wrong. That's what I would always say. I'm like, we're all right until we're all wrong. You know? But people were always like, do you see this one? Do you see that theory? Do you see that guy's theory? You need to go check out that guy's theory. I think he's right. I don't think you're right. I'm like, man, that's not what it's about. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about expanding your mind. Now, when you're right, it feels good. It's a feather in your cap. Like when you accurately to the detail describe how Sonen's gonna die, like I did. But yeah, so I didn't like 2 as much as I liked 1. Tales of Xillia 1 for me was so good. It was like the characters were so good. That's the number one thing I look for in a JRPG is your characters and your story. Sometimes story and characters, they flip-flop. But if you got great characters, they can make an average story really good. And Tales of Xillia had incredible characters. I love those characters. I didn't like Xillia 2 because it forced you to play as these other 2 characters whose names I can't even remember because I didn't care. I just wanted to hang out with like Jude and Milla and Alphen and Gaius. I want to hang out with the old party. I didn't want to hang out with these new bums that the game forced you. They can stop time and do this. I was like, I don't care. I want to have a beer with Alphen. Don't care. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, DM me the link. I'd like to check that out. Xenogears? Huh. What up, Cloud ARAURA? How many chapters will FF7R Part 3 have? I want to say 21. 21 chapters for Final Fantasy VII. 7 times 3. Ah. Alright, Josh, take it easy. I'm about to bounce too. It's getting late and I got more work to do. I got to update my Fiverr account. I've got to update some ARAURA stuff. I got a bunch of other things I got to do before the clock strikes 3 tonight. 18 chapters. Why do you hope they have 18 chapters? Is there a specific reason you want 18? turning into a huge RE fan, and since RE Resident Evil is such a long franchise now, there are some pretty cool theories on what may be going on in RE9. Yeah, there are a lot of wild theories. Love stuff like that. It is different with FF7R though. Yeah, like the thing that's cool about Resident Evil is like it's like this huge ongoing kind of narrative and world, where FF7 is contained, like there's history and stuff obviously, but it's contained to this one event happening right now. But Resident Evil's lore is crazy when you get into the history of the bioweapons programs, of where certain viruses came from and how Umbrella came to be and how they came to be in Raccoon City and what their original purpose was, and Wesker's deception and all this other kind of stuff. Man, I'm telling you, man. And that's why I get so frustrated. I'm not trying to steer the conversation to Resident Evil, I'm not, but since you brought it up, that's why I get so frustrated with the movies, because I'm like, there's so much great canon that's there. The characters are already so good. That's why Resident Evil and Silent Hill and games like that aren't just horror games. Like, it's important because the characters are so good. Horror movies can't do characters as well as the characters in Resident Evil. For horror to work, you have to care about the characters that are, being hunted upon, being preyed upon in horror. If you don't care about the characters, it doesn't matter. That's why the Conjuring movies are so good, because you love Ed and Lorraine so much. Like, those actors are so good in those movies, and that's why the movies are so good. The horror is meh in those movies, but the situations they're in, you care about Ed and Lorraine, you care about the families they're trying to help. That's why those movies work, and they're so good. That's why Resident Evil works. You care about what happens to the characters. It's not just horror. You can't just make your horror movie and put Resident Evil on it. No, it's going to suck. We've seen that time and time again. That's why I'm kind of worried about Zach Krieger's Resident Evil movie. Oh, we're not using any characters for the games. Well, it's not Resident Evil then, asshole. I'm sorry, you're doing it again. My vision of Resident Evil. No, I don't need your vision. I need somebody to do the damn mansion and do it right. That's what I need. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I get heated. Man, I get heated. I talk about all the misses with Resident Evil, and there have been a lot. A lot. Yeah, remake had 18, but I want Final Fantasy VII Part 3 to go hard. I want us to get a lot. I want a lot to happen. I want to spend as much time in there as we can, because this is it. Barring DLC, which it looks like they will do DLC now, that they're even putting it out there. It may be a couple years, but they'll do it. Like, the thing about the longer chapter count that I want is I just want to spend as much time there as I can. This is it. This is it. This is the end. And I just want to spend as much time there as I can. And I definitely am not going to rush through it. You're getting the long play when you watch me. I'm going to every bite off that chicken bone, every bit of it. Every bite off that rib, every bit of it. Every slurp out of the bottom of the glass, every bit. I'm taking every bit. I'm taking my time with it. Recently heard that Capcom were against re-releasing the classic games as they believed the remakes are better. Suffice to say, this makes me wary of Capcom these days, even though I want to trust them. I feel you on that. I've actually got a video in the pipeline. I think it's coming out on Thursday. I've got a bunch of videos I've scheduled, shot, edited, and scheduled. I think this one's coming out on Thursday. I saw that controversy with Capcom telling, what was it, GOG they were talking to about, trying to revitalize the first 3 Resident Evil games or whatever. And they were like, the superior versions exist. I'm like, you talking about RE3 on PS1? That's the superior version of that game. I would say that RE2 Remake is superior to the original RE2, but there are things about RE2 that are so nuanced that it is better in ways than Resident Evil 2 Remake. Especially the opening, where I was disappointed in the trek to the police station in Resident Evil 2 Remake. I was, because I wanted to go through the back alleys. I want, like, you just kind of start in front of the police station, you know? Like, you got to bob and weave through some zombies. You're kind of down the street from the police station, but you're there. Like, in the OG game, you start on a side street, and you go down an alley, and you go into Kendo's gun shop, and you go out the back door, and then you're going down these back alleys over some dumpsters and stuff, through a basketball court, through a crashed bus to get, like, it's a journey to get to the police station. And the fact that you get to see Raccoon City derelict like that and devoid of life. Like, in Resident Evil 2 Remake, it could have just been like the town square right there that's overrun, and everybody else is fine, they're locked up in their homes and stuff. But no, in Resident Evil 2 in the original game, you get to see the city, you get to see the town. There is no one left. And that is horrifying. That is horrifying. So Resident Evil 2 has this sense of loneliness and solemnness, and like there's no one coming to help. Like, there's no one left alive. That's it. It's just me and Claire. And that's it. That's all I know. That aspect of Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation, the original, is scarier than RE2. Now, I think RE2 is a better game, the remake. I think that's a better game. But I don't like how it's the same exact mission, Leon, and then you just go through with Claire, it's the same exact mission. I don't like that. I wanted to feel like it was different. Except for the orphanage. You know, the orphanage, that was different or whatever. But you know what I mean. Like, the same path but different. Yeah, without the classics, you don't have the remakes. I mean, that's the thing. And I think that was just a quote from a person at Capcom. I don't think that's the company-wide vibe about Resident Evil. And again, this is modern journalism at its finest. You know, take a hot quote and run with it. I know for a fact that the people at Capcom cherish, adore, idolize those original the original 3 Resident Evil games. I know for a fact that developers and marketing people at Capcom still speak about those original 3 Resident Evil games fondly. So I think that quote was just cherry picked, you know, from talking to different people at Capcom, you know, and it did kind of come out, but that was what I'm saying is it's one person's view. It's not the company view, if that makes sense. Yeah, journey to the front door. Yeah, exactly. I haven't played 7, 8, and RE2 Remake is my second favorite RE. What's your first favorite Resident Evil game, Zach? What's your favorite? Yeah, Beck. It's welcome to the chat, by the way, Beck. Gave you a shout out earlier for being a channel member. Thank you for being on the long run, the slow burn here at the channel. Game? Are you talking about Game of the Year nominations? Yeah, it's supposed to be like mid-November. I think I don't know if there's a specific date out yet. I've read mid-November. That's kind of what I heard. Yeah, Claire E. Leon B is canon. It's canon because that has Leon finishing off William Birkin at the end in the train. That's canon. That is the canon ending, or the canon playthrough. Revelations 1 doesn't get the love it deserves. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach Dixon. Absolutely, Resident Evil 1 is goated. Goated. And I love it because you're abandoned. And again, it's the best Resident Evil is when it's like, there's no help coming. There's no possibility of help getting to me. Like Leon in Resident Evil 4. Like in Resident Evil 3, it was like, okay, possibility of help getting here. even Resident Evil Code Veronica, it's like, okay, if we can get a boat, we can get out of here. Don't know where we're at. We'll have navigation on this boat. Like, Resident Evil 4? No. There's no help coming. At Resident Evil, Revelations, you are on the ship. But it's a little bit different, you know? Like, any of those stranded in a foreign country Resident Evils or stranded on a boat Resident Evils are always the most terrifying to me. Like Chris in Resident Evil 5. Like, Resident Evil 5 is okay, but it's like, you know, I didn't feel like it was super scary because I feel like I didn't ever feel like there was no way for them to get out of there. Because they were BSAA, they could have flown people in. If they could have gotten away from town and gotten away from the rocket launchers and stuff like that, they could have had someone come help, you know, get them out of there. Seriously, Resident Evil has lots of potential for Resident Evil, as the multiple endings used in the classic games can tell multiple different versions of familiar stories. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I've been a Resident Evil fan. I wasn't on board when the first game came out. I remember my friend, I was in math class in, I want to say it was 9th grade. Or 10th grade, maybe. What would I have been? Okay, yeah, it was 10th grade. And my friend Jason Boyd was sitting next to me. He was a year older than me. But he was like, yo, man. He was big into horror movies. He was like, man, I played this game Resident Evil. It's so crazy, man. It's like almost like you're Ash from Living Dead, but it's like you're in there with these military guys. And dude, I just played a demo for like Resident Evil 2. And I was like, really? First time I heard of it. And then later on, a few months later, Resident Evil 2 comes out. Get it? Me and my boys were in the basement, lights off, playing Resident Evil 2. God, man, that was such an experience. But yeah, the multiple endings and stuff, and just the way the stories were crafted back then are just different than the way they're done now. But I've been playing Resident Evil from almost the jump, basically, is what that story was about. And in all the Resident Evils I've played, I think Resident Evil Village is probably my favorite ending. My favorite ending so far, because the other Resident Evil endings are very quick. You're done. You know, even Resident Evil 4, which was the most ambitious Resident Evil up to that point, you just kind of abscond off the island on a jet ski, and then you're done. You know, Resident Evil and Capcom have never really been known for their endings. And I hope they change that, because I hope Capcom values the storytelling level and the level of love for the characters in Resident Evil that the fans do. And they could show us that by giving us a pretty good epilogue for each game. What if the survivors list was swapped in Resident Evil 1? Chris, Jill, Barry, Wesker, Brad, and Rebecca die, and the characters that died in their place, no one's told that story. Yeah, that could be interesting. But if those other characters... Oh, okay, so I'll challenge you with this. And this probably isn't much of a challenge. You could probably just explain this away by just saying, well, they showed back up. But if Bravo team didn't die, Alpha team doesn't need to go in. Like, if Bravo team doesn't die and they're checking in, Alpha team doesn't need to go in, so they wouldn't die anyway. Do you think the FF7 Part 3 DLC could be about Advent Children? Hey, Meira Zuninga. Did I say that right? Or did I butcher that? Meira Zuniga 8421. I'm gonna call you May. Meira. Yeah, we talked about earlier. Yeah, I think it's either Advent Children or Dirge of Cerberus, which is what I've been saying for a really long time. I'm like, look, if they want to keep playing around in the sandbox they've created with Gaia, they could do Dirge of Cerberus, and they could do it bigger. You could do DLC. You could do Advent Children. You could do it bigger than the movie. You could correct Advent Children. You could fix it, you know. You could do a Dirge of Cerberus game that's not a shooter, that's just playing with Vincent Valentine's techniques from Final Fantasy VII Part 3. I recently got through all the Resident Evil games, but RE0 and RE1, those playthroughs are a bit slow for me right now. Resident Evil 1 remaster on the GameCube from 2002 is my favorite Resident Evil of all time. That is my favorite Resident Evil game ever made. Bar none. Full stop. I love the tank controls. I love the tank controls for the reason that it wasn't hard for my brain to put together that up is always forward, left is always left, right is always right, back down is always back. Like, it was almost like controlling an RC car, you know, for me. That's how it felt while I was playing those games. And that's a couple of my friends who had trouble playing Resident Evil. I was like, it's like controlling an RC car, you know. Oh, I'm like, yeah, that's how you play those games. It always felt like you were being watched. It felt like all the different camera angles were you being watched. And I thought that was horrifying. Even like when I would play it by myself, I felt like I was being watched. Like that's how those games made me feel. And not knowing, hear the like the sound effects and everything. Not being able to see what's in front of you is scary. Because that could be one zombie shambling hung up on a corner. Or it could be one, or it could be five getting ready to come through the camera view right there. You don't know. So you sit there forever and just wait. Is this thing gonna come forward? Pop, pop. Ooh, oh God, I gotta go forward. Pop, pop. Didn't hit anything. Pop, pop. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. I got whatever that was. And then you go, and he's getting back up. Oh God, you know. That was the thrill of playing Resident Evil with the tank controls for me, personally. Idea is Joseph rushes to the mansion after watching Alpha Team die, and he meets up with the Bravos. Oh, I gotcha. So they do get called in. RE0 is actually my third favorite RE. I really like the story and Billy and Rebecca, but the gameplay is a slog. It is. I think they're going to fix that in the remake. I mean, they have to fix that in the remake. No question. Auto aim, yeah. Turning on auto aim, especially on the GameCube games, was paramount. Paramount to survival. Well, it's been a great hang, but I think I need to hop off here for the night, folks. I appreciate the hell out of all of you all coming hanging out with your boy. I want to squeeze in at least one more live stream through the week. So I feel like Monday and Tuesday just isn't enough. I want to try to squeeze in like a Thursday night. Friday, Saturday, Sunday are hard to do just because I've got family things, you've got things going on. Who's going to show up? Maybe some of you. I might put a post up and let me know what other day of the week besides Monday and Tuesday would you all like to see me stream. Whenever you see those posts, let me know, because that's the way I can gauge community feedback. So if you don't let me know, I can't know. So yeah, I'm putting that out there. Yeah, that's why I don't do horror games. I love playing in the dark, so horror games are out. Yeah, that might be a little tough then. Might be a little tough. Will I do a Halloween birthday stream? You're damn right. You're damn right I'll be doing a Halloween birthday stream after my little boy goes to bed. We get him out of his Optimus Prime costume. We get his candy all sorted and all that kind of stuff. I'll be on about 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, like I always do about this time. But yeah, I'll be on Halloween night next week. I'll also be on Monday and Tuesday, like always. We'll do COFFMANITE Tuesday night, like we always do. Thanks for the subscribe, Dappa. Appreciate you. True G, that Dappa right there. He's got the G virus. You got the G virus, Dappa. You're hanging out with me and subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you. I need to do something with that. Anyway, appreciate you all, and I'll put that community post up right when I get off tonight. I might post another one later on tomorrow, just so everybody sees it. But yeah, let me know what other day of the week you all think would be good for me to stream that you could catch me. And until then, y'all have a great day. Be safe. Be good to each other. Keep rocking. I will see you all in the next video or live stream. 3 hours tonight. Good job. Good job, everybody. hanging strong with 25 plus for 3 hours. We were up around 40 for about a good hour. So anyway, appreciate the hell out of y'all. Have a great night. Be safe. And I will catch you all tomorrow with some more content. And you never know when I'll pop up on live stream. But if you don't see me before then, it'll be next Monday night. You all take care. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves. I will catch you all later.